Our story takes place in Early Academy, a prestigious magic high school for only the most elite of students with higher magic accounts. This is where we're introduced to our main character, Kazuki Shikimori. This per SAP can only use this magic at grand total of 8 times. Now, like me, you're probably thinking, how the did he get into this high school with such a low magic count? Well, actually, Kazuki's magic is so strong that it can bend reality itself. But apparently despite that amazing power, Kazuki just wants to live a normal life like a normal teenager, which also makes no sense if he wants to live a normal life. Why the hell would he attend the crazy magic school where all the interesting happens? Surely there are other schools he could attend, but no, he doesn't. His entire character has a contradiction. So after the chat with the school nurse, Kazuki finds out that he may not be very powerful, but his children will be, which leads to the 3 most powerful families in Japan, each sitting in their daughters in order to collect Kazuki's genes so they can bear his children. Which I know sounds like the B-plot to some Hindi, but I assure you it is nowhere near as interesting as that. This is where we're introduced to our main free heroines, Reigning Kurika, which I'll talk about more of my character segment now. Remember at the start of this video when I said Kazuki only had 8 magic things left, and I emphasized on how powerful they were. Now what I was thinking when I was watching the show was that his magic was going to be used for moments. Moments which required major action because it keeps popping that like a druggie trying to get to his next high. It's a wonder he survived his childhood, or they might have stupid things he uses his magic on. I wrote down just a few of the things he uses a magic on, and after you see this, you'll know what I mean. Go to number 1, saving a lunchbox that fell off the floor, number 2, saving Unit from being kidnapped, and number 3, winning a baseball game so it's clear Kazuki doesn't give a flying. What he uses magic on, it gets to the extent where the girls start to get worried about them, and they search for new ways to increase his spell point. But despite all this, Kazuki still continues to use his magic. He just bumbles around acting like it's no big deal when in reality it's going to lead towards inevitable doom. And guess what? I didn't think it. I had no idea what happened, but it actually happened. Kazuki uses up all of his magic and then he dies. Yeah, man said. You know this anymore? Oh wait, there's still 12 episodes left. Well, maybe they'll use this time to put some developments to characters, which is actually well needed. But no. No, they don't. Kazuki comes back to life, the show chickens out. He's back now. Originally when I saw this piece I was like, oh, the show actually has some balls and their main characters died. But nope. The instant Kazuki dies he gets resurrected as a ghost, and instead of the girls trying to find out ways to increase his spell point, the new goal is just to bring him back to life. Obviously even more pointless episodes that do not further the plot. And during this phase you might be thinking, well, there's 12 episodes left, surely some of them do. Well, yeah, some of them may not be full episodes, they are. So after a bunch of episodes of just sticking around, they find out that Kazuki's ashes sealed by the 4 most important girls to him, and in order to get them back, here's to bond with them. Now you might be thinking, wait, 4, but I thought there were 3 main heroines. That's right. During the last 3 episodes, they introduced a new girl that Kazuki has known all along, another childhood friend. The only reason she's in the show is to make conflict with the other characters, because when Kazuki gets his ashes back and becomes human, he will not remember any of them. But after some convincing, she decides to go for all of it, and all of Kazuki's ashes are returned, making him human again. And I'm gonna let you guess something. Does Kazuki A forget everybody that he loves, or B does he remember everything cause the show can't stick to its own rules? Now you probably chose B because that's exactly what happened. They reckon everything. And now apparently Kazuki can remember everything, even though the show had previously stated that once he gets turned into a human, he won't remember anyone. But that's not even the worst part. The ancient Kazuki comes back, he uses spell to spin him into 8 different Kazukis. So every girl has 1 Kazuki, and the shirt doesn't have the right some way of him choosing a girl. Well, maybe the story is bad, but maybe it's held up by its characters. Well, then you're wrong as well, because every character is as bland as cookie cutter as every single harem anime there is. In fact, I would even argue that this is what made the formula for every horror anime character we have, every cliché such as the tsundere, the childhood friend, and the overly sexualized senior. And like every single horror anime ever, we have Kazuki Shikimori, the bland main character of no personality whatsoever other than being nice. He's so nice to the point where he's just a straight-up Kazaki has no development whatsoever. Every single conflict he's ever in is either sorted by plot conveniences or as magic, so he never really learns his lesson when he gets his situations. With each time the show just blatantly destroyed its own rules, it gives away a chance which could give Kazuki more character development. Otherwise he just learns nothing and is going to continue using his powers like in Complete Now Yuna. She feels like a Skyrim in PC. The only thing that's ever on her head is Kazuki. You can boil down every single line of dialogue to being she's either talking about how she wants to marry Kazaki, she's either really angry at Kawasaki, or she's talking about being Kazuki's wife. It gets to the point where it's just so annoying that you want to blow your brains out. There's the exact same problem of Kiriko. She's always thinking of Kazuki, and the only other lines of dialogue is basically her just trying to tempt Kazaki to have sex with her. And unlike she has no other dialogue. There's no deeper character development here. Every episode you just pop in from nowhere and just ask Kazaki, "Hey, you wanna have sex?" That's basically all she ever does in the show. Now for our third and final heroine. And no, I'm not talking about the other girl. She was there for 3 episodes. We didn't get to see any character whatsoever, so we're just going to skip her. Now we've got Red, the one character that actually has development during the start of the show. She isn't just thinking about Kazaki as her matter of fact, she despises Kazaki at this other show, and she has actual conflict that has nothing to do with him. Like her learning how to smile. But like all good things it comes to an end, and halfway through the show she changes completely, and turns into a one-note character like all the others and is basically Kazuki, all of the time. And finally the school nurse and his sister. His sister is introduced when Kazuki becomes a ghost. She wants to catch a Kazuki and make him part of her collection. Now on first beat this might not seem very bad at all as a matter of fact. Started off as quite interesting, but you may notice that she contradicts herself almost every episode. She'll start off by trying to kidnap Car's gear, and then she'll say I don't want to force you to be part of my collection, and it gets annoying. And now for our final character. This is the school's nurse. He is possibly one of the worst teachers ever. He gives away a confidential information about Kazuki's genes, leading to the entire problem in the first place. He keeps dangerous poisons in student reach, and he also has magical creatures locked in his closet which could essentially demolish an entire military force. And when he's asked for help, he gives some like I've used all my magical energy, which is also a total. Because magic isn't based on energy in this world. It's based on spell count. Now the animation in this show is so lazy you won't believe. Now I know this show came out in 2003, but oh my god they stretch things that don't need to be stretched, which makes for some really weird looking scenes, and the CG and the show is apparent. Also look at this water. Wait, come on, did you really need a UCG for that? You could have just drawn some water and it will look 10 times better, but this just looks like. Now it's time for the segment you all know and love. Yes, you know the one where I read the comments, see what you guys think of this show. There's gonna be a little bit different because this. While you may think I couldn't find many negative reviews for this show, everyone who rated the show seemed like some type of enlightened being. They acted like the show was some type of magnum opus and never before seen show. But without further ado, let's just jump into the comments. We have our first one with this person going at their first anime love. They said they've always been a fan of the live-action film. Wait, what? There's a live-action film? Holy, I need to watch that. But they basically go on to say how it changed their entire view of anime, and how it caused them to stop disliking it as a medium. We have this man who can barely speak any English telling us that it's his favorite anime ever. Then he basically just summarizes the plot. This person saying that they watched the entire show on YouTube, and it's not that bad, and it's really funny. This comment also goes as far as to call it the greatest anime ever, saying that it has perfect humor. And is very well written. This person goes around and says that everyone who talks about this show is wrong because there actually is a decent story and is really funny for a horror anime.